Welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Sean Anderson for Ponca City Public Schools. This is our weekly get-together with the head coaches of Ponca City High School Athletics. And a little bit later in the show, coach of the soccer team, Mr. Ben Steichen, will be here with us. And we'll have Coach Steichen right here on this show. And right now we're going to start with tennis. And Coach Larimer is with us, Coach Brad Larimer, the boys tennis coach for Po High. And Coach Larimer, the season's behind us. You've got regionals ahead. And by the way, as we tape this, it is Monday, and the girls are trying to get their regional in. Of course, there's rain. So what happens with the matches when the rain? Were you able to get any tennis in today?
We've got about a round and a half in, and it's just one of those things where you wait it out for a while, and then if you can't get it in, you go the next day, and if you can't get it in, you go the next day, and state tournament starts on Friday.
Yeah, so, I mean, you've got to get the regional in.
We've actually finished the regional on Thursday, went to state city
the next day
meeting that night.
Right. Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
And then you start at 8 o'clock in the morning, whichever class is starting.
Well,
either 4A, 5A, or 6A, 8 o'clock the next morning. So,
right.
I mean, usually you got a couple of days in between, but you do what you got to do.
Yeah, well, and you do what you got to do, and the good thing is the weather forecast looks like it is improving for later in the week. So even if today is a washout, they'll be able to get those regionals in before the state. Certainly hope so. The boys regionals start next Monday. Before we talk about regionals, let's talk about your Po High boys tennis team. And the last two meets, you had the Enid tournament, the last two tournaments, Enid, Shawnee last weekend.
Right.
Your team has really showed some dramatic improvement, really at the best time as you're heading into regionals.
Right. We started out okay, and then we kind of had a little complacency here, and then last 2 or 3 tournaments we've done pretty well. I mean, the kids have gradually improved and done well for themselves, and we got a really tough regional. So I mean, we have to hit that stride, or none of us are going to go to the state tournament. So
right.
Anybody on the team has a good chance of going. That's the thing.
Yeah.
If we come out and we play well, good thing we're playing at home. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. With other sports, and football, they talk about home field advantage. Basketball, that home court advantage. When you're talking about tennis, how much is the home court advantage a plus?
It can be, it can't be. It just matters how your kids are.
Right.
Can they play around people they know? Can they not play around people that they know? It's more of it's kind of a different sport in the fact that, you don't have people yelling and screaming and having whatever, but distractions, I should say. But
but they don't have to travel.
Right, and that's our big deal, because, I mean, you generally, anywhere we go, if we go Stillwater, it's not long, but, most of the time we're going to one of the metro areas or somewhere.
Right.
It's going to take us an hour and a half, 2 hours to get there.
Sure.
And, but, we're used to it. Now, when people have to come to our region, they're not quite so used to it. But,
right.
In tennis world, people go to certain, tournaments, but, they're always traveling. A lot of them spend the night before.
Right.
See, I don't particularly like that because I like my kids staying in their own bed and getting up and going and playing,
Yeah.
And their lights are out generally by the time we hit the city limits and and wake up when I wake them up for breakfast. So, but it's nice being able to come out to your courts and play on your deal, and you got people cheering for you, and it's still a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah. Well, the boys tennis team for Ponca City High School facing a tough lineup at regionals. When you say it's a challenging regional, what are you talking about? What teams really have your attention?
Well, the Jinx and Bixby's are generally pretty good. And then you've got, you throw in Owasso, you throw in, Stillwater, got a kid that his dad's a visiting professor down at Stillwater, and he's really good. He's the best kid in the state. So he shows up on the scene none of us knew about.
That was unexpected.
Exactly. So, we got just a lot of teams that are kind of middle of the road and 4 goes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Yeah.
whichever one of those 3 through 7 shows up that day to make it to the state tournament in those 2 spots is who's going to get them. So
Yeah.
that's one reason I'm glad we're playing here.
Is it kind of one of those things where it's any given tournament? I mean, any given tournament, one of your players can step up and really surprise you and put in a performance.
In fact, down here just a little while ago, one of the girls, I mean, there was a 7 seed beat a 2 seed. I mean, you don't know sometimes. So, you know, you play the season, you go by records, see them, put them on a piece of paper, and let them play.
Well,
you know, and now you've got the exceptional ones that are going to go forward.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, when you got ones that, you know, are just kind of in that, like I say, middle of that road, you know, there's a lot of teams going to vie for it. So, but you know, I mean, our kids, they play hard. So that's what counts.
What's it take to get to the state? I mean, they're going to play the regional next Monday. The boys team.
8 teams, 4 regions.
Okay.
So top 4 out of each region in each division. We play a 1 singles, a 2 singles, a 1 doubles, and a 2 doubles. So there's 6 kids, and for each one of those 4 divisions, your top 4 go to the state tournament in each regional.
Okay.
So in other words, we got 4 regionals, 4 teams. So we got 16. So half of the field makes it to the state tournament.
Okay. So now does the season record does that determine the seeds in the regional?
It's who you played.
Okay.
When everybody comes in, you got the sheets of who you played. You may have played them, you may not have played them. So then it's one of those situations, you got head-to-head, it's easy to put it down. If not, then you go by comparative scores with other teams.
I see.
One, you may have beat somebody where somebody else lost.
Right.
You know, so you compare all those scores on those matches that they played, and then they go on the line.
It sounds very complex. It's
complex for somebody who hasn't been there.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
my 34 years it's pretty.
You got it just like that.
Yeah, it's
right.
You know, so
very good. Well, the boys will have their regional next Monday ahead of the state tournament. We wish the boys tennis team well, and we thank Coach Brad Larimer for being with us, bringing us up to date, and thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, sir.
That's Coach Larimer, and stay close. We're going to be talking soccer with Coach Steichen. That's coming up next, right here on Coach's Corner.